in the week 3 folder, I want to show you one other thing down here at the bottom. So I showed you the St. John's Water Management District permitting, but I also want to show you their portal. A lot of them have gone to doing everything digitally so you don't have to print out the papers, the forms, and upload them. So I actually created a login. If I could type my own name today. Yeah, it would help to have a G in there. Okay, so what I did is I went ahead and looked at an application. So I've got draft applications in there. So if I wanted to do a new, I would hit apply, and then I've also got information here that I want to edit the application. Okay, so in progress part 1. Now, there are sections that you have to fill out. So I'm going to go back to the website, to their permitting. In here, what you have is the permitting applications and the rules that you have to follow. So, let me go back. I'm looking for the actual website that I want to go to. I'm just going to go here. All right. I downloaded the 2 documents that St. Johns River Water Management District had. I think it would be easier if I just went back to their website. Sorry, guys. On the first one, so the ERP, the Environmental Resource Permit, is going to be your overall permit that you're trying to obtain through all the water management districts. It's always called an ERP, Environmental Resource Permit. South Florida, St. John's, Southwest Florida, all of them use the same type of permit application. Now, the reason that it's an ERP environmental is because of wetlands. So anything that, or surface body waters, anything like lakes, streams, whatever that we're impacting, we have to get a permit for that impact. We can't just wipe out a wetland without doing some type of mitigation for it. So what the permit applications do is they actually say, okay, here is, and I downloaded the actual form. I'm going to show you in the portal website so you'll get a feel for it if you ever have to do one of these permits. But you also have, when I first did it, I did it in a Word document. So here's an application. This is the name of it. Joint application for individual environmental resource permit. Authorization to use state-owned lands, submerged lands, federal dredge, and fill permit. Anytime you put dirt on something that didn't have dirt to begin with, like you're moving dirt for a project, you have to get one of these permits, an ERP. Now, the submerged lands have to do with state-owned waters. So any like Lake Toho, Apopka, Lake Butler, all of those, if you work on lands that they find they have jurisdictions, you have to get a permit. If you do a boat dock on any of these lakes, you have to get one of these permits, okay? If you do any type of environmental work, as in you're building a subdivision on a project that has, whether it has wetlands or doesn't have wetlands, has to get a permit. Residential, commercial, does not matter. You always pull a permit. They have different types of permits based on the size of your project. So if you're a single-family residential, you have a different type of permit that you fill out, different sections that you need to fill out. So when you're filling these out, this is a nice little list of what do I have to do. I know it's tilted and I don't think I can rotate this picture. Anywho, general information. Section 8, everybody has to fill out, whether you're working in the wetlands for a single-family resident, docks, wetland impacts, boating facilities, state-owned lands, construction for a stormwater management system. Usually if you're building a subdivision, you're building a stormwater management system if it's a new subdivision. Constructing a mitigation bank. A mitigation bank means I have a wetland and I'm going to turn it over to some type of facility to sell credits for that. It's truly a bank at that point in time. Or am I creating a mine? Everybody has to fill out Section A. The first 2 single-family projects, that means they're literally talking about maybe one house on it. Those are small developments. So they would have to fill out Part B. Now, where we start filling out for subdivisions or even commercial development is, are we impacting or anything associated with individual residencies? So we'd have to do Section C. Boating facilities. I did a project where they actually created a boat dock out into Lake Toho, so they had to do Section C. Dredging means, are they pulling any of the dirt away? Are they excavating, so they have to dredge? State submerged lands. Construction for a stormwater management pond, still have to do C. Now, surface, on this one it says structures on works in surface waters. That occurs if you're doing boat docks on state-owned land or state-owned waters, like Toho if you're in Osceola County, Lake Papa here in Orlando. Constructing stormwater management, so you would have to do E. Almost all of our projects, whether it be commercial or residential, require ponds. Almost all of them do, of some sort, some type of treatment. So what we have is we're going to have A, C, and E that we have to deal with. So what I did is I downloaded those applications, and this is application A. So basically it goes through and asks you, is this a construction for new works? Ours, absolutely. We are building a subdivision. Now, you could do repair work or you could abandon something. Okay, DEP stands for Department of Environmental Protection, so you'll see that pop up. WMD means Water Management Permit Number. Okay, so we're going to basically be working on a construction of new works, activities, or stormwater management system. Now, if we were working on a project that's thousands of acres and it's in conceptual mode and we want a permit so we can start digging our ponds, you could do a conceptual permit. I just want you to be aware of these. When I went through school, we touched none of this. And as soon as I got my first job, it was like, hey, do this permit. And I'm like, I have no clue what to do. So I want to make sure that you all at least heard about these and know that you're going to be, where some of the information you're pulling to put this for the engineer or the designer or whoever you're working with. Okay? So the next thing it says, list the type of activities proposed. I'm going to post these applications, and I'm going to probably have you all help me fill out these applications as we go along. What's required? List of types of activities proposed, check all that apply. So activities associated with one single-family residence, that's not us. We have a lot. Activities within a wetland or surface water within 25 feet of a wetland. Our project has no wetlands on it. We would have to get an actual environmentalist to confirm that there's no wetlands on our project. If there is, boom, we get a check mark on that one. And then it automatically tells us we have to fill out Section C. Okay? The next one is activities of navigable or flowing waters. Docks. That's not going to be us. Even though Lake McCoy is above us, we're not connecting to it, so we're not going to fill that one out. Activities that are or may be located within a state-owned submerged land. That is going to be any type of water body, and that's not us. Construction or alteration of stormwater management systems serving commercial, residential, transportation, that's us. Big old check mark, that's us. Now, show you comparison of this on the website is, here's part A, okay? And then we would just go, yeah, we are going to construct, alter, blah, blah, blah. Or we can go other and fill that out. Then it says Section D, describe general terms the project proposed, the system and works. Now, it's very generic when we're doing a project. It can be really short and sweet. So see, the Word document is the exact same as the portal that we're doing, which it should be. Sometimes it's not always, but it should be. So we would describe our project as we are developing so many lots on so many acres supported by storm pipes discharging into a wet detention system. It can be as short and as sweet as that. You just tell them how many lots you have so they know what size development you're doing on how many acres. Okay? Now, the next one says, for activities in and on over wetlands or other surface waters, check the federal dredge and fill permit requested. We don't have any, but if we were filling a wetland or filling a surface water body, a pond that's already existing, we would have to say it's an individual permit, a general permit, or a nationwide permit. Or we just check on not sure today. That's a nice little checkbox. Okay? Now, the next one, it says project activity, street, road, address. We know this. We've already said it. It's 1007 Botha Road, Apopka, Florida. We just fill that in. Now, the next part, it says a location and a site map. So all of this is the stuff we're gathering. You may think to yourself, why is she reading us all of this? It's because this is the type of information that you'd have to gather for a true project. It just doesn't fall into your lap. You have to go out and find it. Now, the section, township, and range is what your surveyor would get you. Okay? You can look it up. You can find it on the property appraiser's information. They've got usually big maps on section, township, and range too. There's multiple ways to find this information. Go to your surveyor. Make him tell you so you don't screw that up. That's how I feel. You'd have longitude and latitude, and you can find that on using Autodesk. You can find it on the NGS NOAA's website. The tax parcel identification number, that is truly your property appraiser's site. Directions to site. You actually would tell somebody, if you're coming, it's like Google, if you're coming from wherever, going to wherever, here's how you get here. The last on this page is, what is the area or phase of the project? Sometimes we may have hundreds of acres, but we only want to build, let's say we have 1,000 acres, and we only want to build the first 100 acres because cha-ching, 1,000 acres development is going to cost a lot of money. But we can build 100 acres at a time, and it's a lot cheaper. So we would build only 100 acres if it's a phase. All right, so I'm going to go on to the next part until part 2. So if you have any water body activity, you list that. Questions regarding MO are not applicable to activities to a single family residence. So these we don't have to worry about unless it's talking about multiple. So we don't have this. We'll be answering similar questions to this though later based on our site, because it was wooded. Now it is going to be a huge development that has impervious area. All right, so we're going to pause there and we'll go on to the next section.